We are at the trailhead for Canyon Creek. This leads right into the heart of the White Trinities, Granite Peaks. There's a fair number of open spaces to park, so of course I took the one that I could find that was closest, just behind the van here, to the trailhead. This is what I'm taking with me. It's about mid-afternoon, a little after 3. Taking a break. I think I'm about 3 miles in. I think that's Sawtooth Peak. Evening sun. Well, 8 miles of hiking and I've made it to where I'm going to camp. This is the lower Canyon Creek Lake. Nice and clear. Thompson Peak to the right, Wedding Cake to the left. Yep, the sun has gone down. Those are no longer orange. So it's just getting a little bit cooler and darker here. So I got my bright light for the morning. Bear spray in case I need it during the night. There's a deer right there. I've seen him earlier too. It spooked me out at first. He was staring straight at my direction. I guess he's keeping me company for the night. Upper Canyon Creek Lake. So far, this has been pretty grueling. There's Thompson Peak. Look carefully in the snow. It's all little bugs that are slowly unthawing from the overnight. There's gotta be millions of them just in this snowbank alone. Almost on the ridge line between Wedding Cake and Thompson Peak. I just went up the steep snow and I should be snow free pretty much from here on out. Lakes are way down there. It's taken me forever to reach this spot. The sun is hitting really hard. And these mountains just overall feel very dry and warm despite all the snow. Almost at the top. I just have this little class 3 section and that's the summit. So here we are. Summit view. Number of surveys on the rocks. There's one right by me. 1949. Well, we'll start with Grizzly Lake. It's a nice green color. See underwater boulders. I did see some people down there. They were echoing. They were somewhere in there. The exit for the lake actually has a very nice waterfall but it's a really long hike to even get to it from that valley. So go on to the horizon. You can see Preston Peak. Black Marble Mountain kind of stands out with all the marble, of course. A lot of these peaks don't even have a name. That, I think, is Russian Peak. One of the two. Behind you could even see Mount McLaughlin in Oregon. That's pretty far away though. The eddies are kind of noticeable with their red peridotite. Mount Shasta, of course. Caesar Peak is just right across the way. But as you can see, it's a pretty razor sharp drop. There's actually a small little glacier underneath the snow. You can see kind of some of the breaks in the ice. It's really tiny, probably no more than an acre. And that's actually the moraine when it was a little bit bigger about a century and a half ago. Doesn't really do much grinding. The lake doesn't have any significant silt to it. But yeah, there's a very airy drop here. Connects right over to Caesar Peak, which is a little bit lower than here. It looks like there's people's at least somebody's tracks in there. Goes way off over there. Well, this is kind of the core of the Trinity Alps. Sawtooth Peak, which for some reason actually looks like it's higher than here. But I think that's because the Central Valley is in the backdrop, which of course it's all hazy. You can see the red Trinities. Gibson Peak is actually granite. Behind it you can faintly see Lassen Peak. I did a trip there back in 2011. It's been a while since I've been in this area. Well, that's where I camped, was the furthest lake. Right there, in fact. Might even still see my sleeping bag and all. Well, I hear those people down at Grizzly Lake. That's kind of a nice view there. Wedding Cake is this small little stub. I was looking at climbing it, but not really feeling too great today. And it's because I didn't really sleep too well last night. Most of these don't have a name, except for the highest one there. That's Mount Hilton. I believe that's probably the second highest peak in the White Trinities. Papoose Lake is actually in a cirque right around that ridge. Oh, and you can really see just all these rocks that just stick up. The summit that I'm on here, this big hunk of granite isn't attached to anything, so it looks like one of these days it's just going to topple over. In fact, all of these rocks, including the one I'm on, are just standing straight up. The Green Trinities are, I believe, that stretch of mountains there. Looks like there's been some fires long ago in the past. Well, from 9,000 feet you can actually see the ocean, which isn't really any surprise. We're not that far from it. It's just, if it is even on the camera, the low blue horizon there. You see a good portion of the ocean all the way to right there. And most of what's west of here is kind of a mystery to me. Right up until you get to Preston Peak again. There's a lot of backcountry roads, but it is excessively remote. And that whole area is what you would classify as Bigfoot country. Looking south, you can see the Yalabala Wilderness. The highest point in there is actually just over 8,000 feet. And it kind of peters down as you get towards the Napa Valley. There's also a summit register, which I'll take a quick look at. There they are. Not too far from the terminus, the exit way for the lake. So, there's actually, well, there's this register which was placed August 12, 2016, and there's actually another one that looks really crappy. And it looks like I'm the third person for the year, I think. Yeah, June 2nd was the first visit, so that was 12 days ago. And somebody was here 4 days ago. Alright, now it's time to descend down all this. First little opening here has what looks like a pretty easy way down, easier than the way I came up. Glad there's still a bit of snow. This looks fun to glissade down. That's kind of peculiar. Looks man-made almost. Just all these boulders sitting around like that. This is the creek in between both lakes. I was able to jump it last time down there, but this time I decided to ford it across. It was probably about the height of my knee. Cold water felt good though. Back at my campsite. Pack up and head back down. Getting to be sunset soon. Still got about 3 miles. This gigantic tree here. There's a lot of these. There's one right there too. So glad to be back at the car. Did a 8-mile power walk back from the lake.